Well, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for staying with us. You are watching Your World. My name is Zainab Ismail, and today we'll be focusing on financial reporting. What is it about and why is it important? And of course, the integration of technology and innovation into financial reporting, as well as the public sector participation, and the coveted FIRE Awards 2023, just a couple of weeks away. We'll be dealing with all that, and of course in studio just to break down for us this conversation, I am joined by FCPA Dr. Geoffrey Njeni, who is, by the way, a FIRE Award judge. A very good morning and good to see you.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Great. We also have CPA Catherine Asemate, who's a FIRE Award Technical Committee Chair. Very good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Good to see you too.
Indeed. And we also do have CPA Stephen Obok, who is also a judge in the FIRE Awards expected later on in December. Very good morning to you as well.
Good morning to you and pleasure to be here.
And I'm going to start with you, Stephen. I mean, when we talk about financial reporting, right? First, we want to before we even get to understand really why it's important and why this should be a conversation for companies in the country, just break it down for us and essentially what it means.
Thank you, Zainab, for that particular question. Financial reporting and the background behind that and the rationale why it's important is basically based on the need for users of financial statements, investors, stakeholders, to have useful information for purpose of decision making. I'm sure, Zainab, as a media house, you, of course, prive on the fact that information is power, and that having that information out there in the public makes people make the appropriate decisions. Equally, financial reporting, the main aim is to provide financial information to stakeholders in the market to be able to make appropriate investment decisions, whether to invest or divest, at what time that should happen, and also for purpose of accountability, because if you've been entrusted with resources, you have to demonstrate how those particular resources have been utilized, and a better way to doing that is through financial reporting. So it enhances transparency, accountability, and also enables investors to make appropriate decisions based on information that has been provided to them through financial reporting.
So important internally and also important externally as well.
Yes. So if you look at it internally, Zainab, you will be looking at, you are assessing how you have performed.
Right.
And a better way of doing that quantitatively will be through the financial statements. Now, for the investors externally and people who are interested in investing, they'll be looking at, is this a company I should be investing in? Should I be divesting at this particular point in time? Right. And the financial statement gives that particular opportunity for them to do so.
All right. And Dr. Njeni, I mean, when we're looking at some of the components included in a financial reporting, I know there's financial statements. Just give us a breakdown as well. What's key factors that are considered when you're looking at the financial health of a company?
Yeah, definitely. Financial reporting has evolved. And right now, even though we're using the term financial reporting, right, there are also a lot of non-financial perspectives. So from the financial perspective, the focus is on whether you're making profits, meaning the money the customers are giving you from providing your services, how much of that is basically saved after incurring expenses. So profitability is a key and primary factor there. But in addition to that, what we're also worried about is, are you growing the wealth of the investors? Because making profits is one thing, but retaining some of the profits to basically help owners build the wealth over time is very critical. And of course, you also have to continue growing the business in terms of resources that you're making, so that now people can say, I put my money in something that gives me a future. And so from the financial perspective, that is important. But also from the non-financial perspective, like Steve has said, we are not just looking at making wealth for the investor. We're looking at building the future for many stakeholders. You're looking at your customers. They're going to rely on you for your products. You're looking at suppliers who like to do business with you. You're looking at employees who are worried about their future. So are we going to be in business and a source of employment for us? Even the society at large, you know, the opportunities you provide for jobs and, in fact, for support, you know, like if you're Safaricom and you're making more than 70 billion, how can you support our charitable activities? So in that case, these reports become very, very critical, not just for financials, but also just to support the society.
And creating the confidence among your customers
Yes.
and the society at large, as well as the people, the stakeholders within the company,
Definitely.
including the investors, right?
Yeah.
Catherine, let me get to you. You know, ISPAC, that's the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, has really undertaken, you know, these steps to enhance sort of the credibility, the quality of the financial reporting in the country. Just give us an idea of how far we are. And looking at the FIRE Awards, this is our 20th edition, I believe. Just 22nd edition, right? Just give us a brief of where we've come from and where we are when it comes to really enhancing that credibility and quality of financial reporting in the country.
Thank you, Zainab. So generally, I'd like to pick up from what my colleagues have also mentioned. The importance of financial reporting can't be underscored. So what as ISPAC we are doing is trying to incrementally increase the confidence of the public, mainly the users of the financial statements, through making sure that our accountants, who are the preparers and also the reviewers of these statements, are qualified, and ensuring that we remain, first of all, compliant to the international standards. So as a country, what we have done is we have adopted all the international standards that have been set by the International Accounting Standards Board and other independent standard setters board. So what we've done is bringing those home, first of all, and that enhances compliance, and it enhances also the transparency as well as comparability of reporting, so that one person does not prepare a separate set of financial statements which cannot be compared to another person within the same entity, the same industry, and the same entity year in, year out. So what we've done is ensuring, first of all, that we've adopted those standards and making sure that we entrench what we call continuous professional development of our accountants within the country, and being the voice of trust and credibility. So we advise the government and also other private sector entities on these issues of standards, and just making sure that we are still aligned. If there are any changes that come regarding particular standards that need to be adopted or need to be amended, we ensure that we give this guidance. So what as ISPAC we've also been able to carry out is giving what you call illustrative sets, that is illustrative guidance in terms of financial reporting. So every year we issue guidance to the different preparers, that is the people who are preparing these financial statements, on what they need to take cognizance of when they are preparing the statements. And that already has factored in the standards that have been amended internationally. So that we believe that is a very critical role, because it really brings the backbone as to what is being prepared for the users to consume out there. That is both internal and external stakeholders. So Zainab, what I'd like to also, just as I've generally mentioned, I know we'll discuss more as we go on, is the issue of building trust within the country. So that is, what we are trying to do is first to ensure that the investors and the different entities, when you set up an entity, you ensure first that you have employed a qualified accountant. That is very important, a qualified accountant who is in good standing with the institute, which makes it better, because we are then able to regulate that particular member, and also giving them the respective resources that are required to ensure that they are compliant.
All right.
Thank you.
And we'll come back to that issue of the credibility of the accountants that are available, and that what really means in terms of risking a company's own reputation when it comes to financial reporting. But Stephen, the landscape of financial reporting in the country has suddenly evolved over the years. So to what extent do you think this has affected our own, as a country, how the standards meeting the international standards that are required?
Thank you, Zainab, for that question, and it's quite pertinent to the work I do. Besides being a member of ISPAC, of course, I'm an auditor and a partner at KPMG, and what we do is auditing and providing assurance to the market, so that the market can have confidence in whatever reports that are out there and be able to rely on those particular reports for purposes of decision making. Kenya as a country, of course, we went quite ahead of most African nations in terms of adoption of global standards. Way back in 1999, we already adopted IFRS as an accounting framework that was applicable for private sector. But if you look back, the coming of the new constitution, and in 2012, the PFM Act comes into equation to require even public sector entities to adopt international standards and establishing the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board that then provides guidance in terms of standards that need to be applied and need to be adopted by various entities. Now, if you look at the rationale why this is important, and for us as a country, even besides the Constitution, because the Constitution requires accountability, it requires aspects of ethics, if you look at Chapter 6, and the need to provide information that is faithful. And that aligns basically with the conceptual framework and accounting. Now, we are providing information to the public. Now, this information has to be useful. Now, under what circumstances would we say that that information is useful? Now, information is useful if it is relevant. Is it able to guide you in decision making? Yeah, is it able to guide you in decision making? And in accounting, besides being relevant, we also look at, from a financial reporting, whether that information faithfully represents. Now, when we talk about faithful representation, Zainab, we're basically saying, okay, information is correctly depicting the phenomenon it relates to. Let me give you an example, Zainab. If you go to a bank now and borrow a loan, then you come and say, I have income of 1 million. Now, a loan is not necessarily income, it's a borrowing. Yes, cash has come in, yeah, but you don't record that as income because you've not done anything to earn it.
Right.
Yeah, you've basically done a borrowing. So when we talk about financial reporting, the intention is to make sure that preparers of financial statement, accountants have an understanding, and that boils down to what CPA Catherine has said, that do you have an understanding of the frameworks under which you are reporting? Are you a qualified accountant to be able to do so? So that you are not reporting a transaction basically because inflows has come in as income, but rather you are looking at the substance of that particular transaction and reporting it appropriately. And therefore, we can say faithfully represent, so that when an investor is looking at whatever you are giving them out there, they're able to make a decision. Because on what basis, for example, Zainab, would you say, okay, I want to buy KCB shares instead of equity shares? It has to be on the basis of the information that KCB has provided to you and information that Equity Bank has provided to you. You're able to analyze, are you interested in short-term gains, for example, dividends? What is your interest? And based on information available, then you are able to go that particular route. So as a country and through the Institute, of course, we've come all this journey. And Fireword, for example, is one of those initiatives as a nation, as a country, has played a bigger role in terms of making sure that we continue advancing in financial reporting.
Indeed.
Yes.
And Dr. Njeni, I mean, it's not the first time perhaps we've had reports of inaccurate financial reporting. Just give us an idea, the risks of the same. Either, it could be unintentional errors or even deliberate fraud. What is the risk of having an inaccurate financial report out there?
Yeah, so Zainab, that's a very critical question. And in fact, when you look at the various strategies that are being used to promote excellent reporting, you have, first of all, many players coming in, for example, in terms of the laws, the Companies Act, the Bankings Act, very clear on the role of preparing financial reports and then making sure that these financial reports can be relied upon by others. So you have the concept of auditing. But just apart from audit itself, you also have the issue of ethics and professional competence by members. So if you're a member of ISPAC, like what you're saying, you have to get a qualified accountant. And so professionally qualified accountants or being members of ISPAC are under ethical code to make sure that they cannot provide information that is fraudulent or incorrect or misleading to the users. Now, coming to the point of providing the misleading information, it's precisely the mistake that you make where investors are putting their money where they should not put their money. And of course, that can lead to serious losses, not just for the investor, but even for other users. For example, let's just take institutional investors like pension funds. So pension funds are putting monies for pensioners. They're investing in shares and other instruments in the stock market. And so if you put your money in a company that prepared fraudulent financial statements, you'll end up losing, because when we rein in and regulators come in and there's a lot of problems regarding your financial statements, it means that the company first is stopped from listing the stock exchange, and therefore whoever bought the shares is not able to dispose them. So in the first instance, their pensioners are going to lose their monies. And of course, you've also seen this can happen to any other organization. For example, in a bank, depositors can lose their money. And so a lot of people stand losing their investments and also their livelihood if you're employees. And suppliers who supplied you with goods and expect to be paid also stand to lose their monies there. So in a way, fraudulent financial reporting puts the risk, puts everybody's interest at risk in a company, and that's precisely why we are using the approach of the laws and regulations, but also encouraging you to provide excellent financial reports, more detailed, accurate, and transparent. Yeah.
Catherine, is this something that ISPAC is dealing with? Perhaps to what extent is it a huge challenge or a small challenge? And really, suddenly looks like it has really serious potential consequences, like what you talked about, using non-qualified individuals to keep the books and really give a credible financial report.
Yes, thank you, Zainab. Indeed, that is what ISPAC is dealing with, and as a regulator of the accountancy profession in Kenya, we have a mandate through the Accountants Act to regulate the profession, and therein contains different elements within which our mandate is enshrined. So what we encourage, first of all, is to ensure that the preparer as well as the reviewer are qualified people who have a license from ISPAC. But basically, over and above handling it from the law, like my colleague has said, we also try first to encourage entities and to encourage the different people who are dealing with the financial reporting to first ensure that they deal with a qualified person, but also they get the the respective knowledge that is required. The reason why we encourage use of qualified accountants is because these are people who are regulated by us, and these are people who have been trained to do the work, and they are again supposed to be in good standing with the institute. And what does good standing entail? So good standing entails that this person does not have any disciplinary proceedings ongoing currently, the issue of ethics, which I'll talk about. There is also an issue about continuous professional development, that this person has continuous professional development from the time they learned in school up to now where they are, because someone could have indeed done CPA while years back, but where are they at the moment? They could be the ones preparing the statements which are posing the different stakeholders at risk of having different misrepresentations therein.
But you do have accountants who are not certified under the institution, right?
Yes, we have people who are working as accountants out there who are not registered by us. But the issue is what work are they doing? So we are trying to see how we can work on it through the law, whereby we'll have everyone who is practicing as an accountant has to be registered by ISPAC. But currently, what we have encouraged all employers, and I think you've been able to see that different employers, even from the time of advertisements and employment, they have indicated that you have to have the respective qualification and have been a member of good standing. So the people who have done other qualifications that are commensurate to the CPA, there is what we call a pathway of entry to be a member in good standing, and that is also considered. But we have those who have not done any form of professional accountancy, and they have done maybe a degree course or a diploma. So those are the ones who we are saying, for now, we consider them as not qualified, and they are not in our practice, they are not within our net of regulation. And ideally, they may form part of what we call the quacks, so they should not be trusted to do these financial reports and any other accountancy work. So we have, I know we've seen people going to cyber cafes, to rely on cyber cafes to file their returns, to also rely on cyber cafes to do what you call the bookkeeping for them. But what we encourage is ensure you have a qualified accountant doing that, who is regulated and has a license from ISPAC. That really enhances the reliability that, like we've spoken about, and ensuring that there is no risk that is posed to the respective stakeholders, because of what you've spoken about, faithful representation, and also portraying the true and fair view of the company. Because this person that is not qualified and is not within our list in terms of good standing does not have any control, and there's no accountability as to what work they are doing. Therefore, you may find that the advice they give to the entity first is not aligned to anything in terms of the standards you've spoken about, in terms of the law, and they are not accountable. They could as well do that and disappear, and the entity remains at risk by losing investors or by losing trust and reputation out there. So, because when you come back and you find the entity collapse because of relying on advice and guidance by the preparer of that report, then ASISPAC will not have anything to do with that, because the preparer of that, first of all, was not a member that was regulated by us, and will not have much in terms of giving any accountability on that. So we encourage the use of that, and we wouldn't want to make it as legal as it may sound in terms of what I've mentioned on the Accountants Act, but also just making sure that we advise entities from time to time to comply to that, and because these are people that we have some sort of umbrella view on, and we can hold them to account as to what they do. We can guide them.
All right. Quite risky, actually, affair. But yes, before we take a break, CPA Stephen, would you like to add something onto that?
Yes. Thank you, Zainab. And just to pick up from where CPA Catherine has said, I think when you're asking about the risk, I want you to imagine yourself going to be treated by somebody who is not a doctor. And the kind of prescription you'll get from such an individual. There's no guarantee of what they're prescribing to you, whether it will work or not. Similarly, in accounting, it's the same thing. We require professionalism and we require quality, because if you are looking at providing information to somebody who is going to invest $1 billion of their money in a particular company, then that advice you give must be informed by certain experience, certain qualifications to enable you to give them information that is relevant for decision making. Now, of course, everybody who aspires to be an accountant is a good thing. It's just that they have to go through the necessary requirements. Let me cite this particular illustration for understanding. Now, imagine one who did accounting 10 years ago. Now, 10 years ago, the standards have almost completely changed. There are new standards coming in every now and then to respond to market. Now, there are products that are basically virtual. If you're talking about money and all that. So how to account for such products that are emerging from technology and innovation that is ongoing is informed by the new standards that are coming on. Now, if this person was last in an accounting class 10 years ago, they definitely have not been abreast to the changes over the last 10 years. So they have not gone through continuous professional development. And you can only go through that through an institution such as ISPAC that then guides that each year you must have certain hours of learning and development. And when there are new standards, because they are the link with the international standard setters, then they are able then to provide that information. So it's not just a need that everybody be in ISPAC, but it's also the benefit you get by being a member, because the trainings, the equipping, and the information you get on the changes becomes very important for you to make appropriate decisions in your day-to-day accounting work.
I don't know, perhaps it's difficult to be, or the requirements are a little bit stringent when it comes to being a member of ISPAC, perhaps? Catherine, very quickly.
Yeah, they are stringent, but that's why we are trusted by the investors. But I wouldn't really say as stringent as maybe other countries out there in terms of the accountancy profession. But again, what I'd like to say is that we are a member of another international oversight board. We are a member of the International Federation of Accountants, which is the umbrella body of all accountancy professions within the world. So by being a member of that, therefore, there are several minimums that we are required to comply with. So that gives us a guide. And even if the entry requirements may be looked at as punitive, for us, they still guide what we've talked about. Again, it's the risk of misrepresentation. So they are not as stringent. Someone needs to just have what were the CPA qualification, first of all, and a minimum of 3 years in working within the accountancy profession, 3 years of experience, then they'll register, they'll join the membership. We also have other categories of membership, like the associates. There's also a trainee membership, that is the students who are within CASNEB.
Okay.
But once someone is a normal member, again, they are different. They are still not allowed to practice in terms of giving the opinion of the financial statements. So they require to get a license from ISPAC. And there are different requirements for that, which are basically widely available on our website, for you to know that for you to be a member in good practice, again, you can't join membership today and start your application for license.
Right.
You need first to practice, you need to get experience, and you need to demonstrate the work that you have done before the institute can then grant you that practicing license. Once you get a license, again, there is a minimum within which you have to renew that license annually. And for you to renew, you have to undertake certain requirements that have been prescribed by the institute. So all these are coming from the international standard, the international boards, that is like the IFAC, International Federation of Accountants, and we also have another one which is African, that is Pan-Africa Federation of Accountants.
Right.
So these are standard. If you come to Kenya, you'll have that. If you go to another country, maybe let's say Canada or South Africa, the accountants have also similar requirements across the world.
So very important for that due diligence, right? And we'll come back and continue this conversation. We have to take a short break here on Your World in a moment. You can engage with us on our social media platforms at NTV Kenya. You can also X me on Twitter or at X at Zainab Ismail. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's take a break. We're going to be back.
GoTV Stream iko mkononi, mechi yako na sports action yote, na watoije hata wao hawajawachwa nyuma. Wacha enjoyment izidi hii holiday na GoTV. GoTV Stream available from 1st December for all active customers.
At Stanbic Kenya, we believe in your financial potential, and we are here to help you reach new heights. Enjoy an attractive interest rate of up to 14% per annum on your savings. Make the most of this exclusive offer today and let your money thrive. For more details, call us today or visit a branch near you. Stanbic Bank.
Solve the issue with my shifts. I'm tired of being here catching all the work.
I can't answer all your questions at once. Enough. The meeting's over. We go back to work now.
Fine. A long meeting that took our entire break.
I do for the rest of my life with all that I have, I do, and I will.
And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
KCA University 15th graduation ceremony will be held on Thursday, 16th November at the main campus in Ruaraka, Nairobi. This year's theme is 10 Years of Innovation and Transformation. All graduates and guests are requested to be seated at the graduation square by 8:30 a.m. The event will be live on NTV from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and also live streamed on NTV YouTube, KCA University YouTube and Facebook pages. KCA University, advancing knowledge, driving change.
It feels so fresh, fresh, fresh. Fresh.
Always fresh. Nivea Fresh Deo. Now with new InfiniFresh technology. Antibacterial power with 48-hour protection and long-lasting freshness. Nivea Fresh Deo. Feel fresh in every moment.
Jina lako nani?
Naitwa Emboko.
Wewe weka pesa zako wapi?
Tutoke hapa. Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation lina jukumu la kulinda pesa zako kwenye benki.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching Your World. This morning I am with FCPA Dr. Geoffrey Injeni, who's a judge in the Fire Award. We'll be telling you about that, the Financial Reporting Awards, Excellence Awards that will be happening later on in December. CPA Catherine Asemate, who's the Fire Award Technical Committee Chair, as well as CPA Stephen Obok, a judge for the Fire Award as well. Thank you so much for staying with us for this conversation. And let me get to you, FCPA Dr. Injeni. You know, I've been told it's very important to mention that FCPA has to be there. But anyway, yes. Well, looking at, you know, the integration of technology, first of all, and innovation into financial reporting, I think it's something that continues to be stressed out, and also especially for the public sector entities to sort of adopt, you know, and leverage on technology in their financial reporting. Why is this important? And also when you're talking about sustainability, just give us an idea of that aspect of financial reporting.
Yeah, so very important, and it just goes without saying that right now, if I want to know what's happening currently in the world, definitely on my smartphone I have many apps. I can access nation news real time and check what's going on. And as opposed to just even going for the newspaper itself and also waiting for the 7 o'clock or the 9 o'clock news. And definitely it's acceptable that technology has really shaped and improved the way we do things.
Right.
And definitely then we cannot also just be left behind in terms of financial reporting. For a while, when companies were presenting their financial reports and other information, we had to wait again for another 12 months to get the reports out. And again, you have to wait and get a hard copy. Now, over time, we moved then from getting a hard copy to getting a PDF document where you could go to the company's website and try and get a copy of that and download. So right now, if you want to invest in any company that is listed, you can easily access the report on their website. Also, the law requires that. Capital Markets Authority requires that to be done. And out of that, downloading a report is not just sufficient.
Okay.
So we need to be able to interact, because other than just reporting and providing information for investors to look at, companies can also use these financial reports to just tell a story about what you're doing. I think Safaricom has been at the forefront of doing this for a while. So apart from the financial reports, Safaricom has been leading in terms of preparing sustainability reports.
All right.
And therefore, when you get snippets or even just a section of some of your content in the annual report, you can go and just tweet about it and say, you know, as a company, we have reduced the carbon emissions, say by, I don't know, 5,000 CGMG, or how they measure that. You can also just, you know, go to, other than just Twitter, you can just also just have your Facebook and give people just a summary highlight of what you've done. So recently we saw in Safaricom Sustainability Report, they dealt, I think they fired about 30 employees who are involved with unethical practices. I think 16 of them were in relation to some SIM swap or something. And so when you bring out such information and tell people this is the value you're bringing to investors, this is what we are contributing to the CERT in terms of employment, right? We are supporting equivalent of 2 million individuals through employment, directly, indirectly, and business. So technology and social media will really help you tell that story. And of course, you have to make sure that this information is not misleading, because it has already been audited and checked and is something that is verifiable, right? So in a way, you find that it's not just telling us what is your value based on responsibility,
right,
but also just using it as a way to communicate to people.
Which
just
is
tell us a
important.
story.
I mean, we've seen that change.
Yeah.
Before, it was so hard to get a financial report from companies. It was more like a very hidden kind of a document. But now you get all these documents out there on social media, snippets of really important information out there. Really, then this enhances the confidence in your own customers, in investors as well. So a key issue, right? Yeah,
definitely, definitely. The only place where we still want to see this happening more is in the public sector.
Okay.
I know public sector, we also had issues of fast improving financial reports from the public sector. You're looking at government departments, you're looking at the central government, you're looking at county governments and state corporation. So we've tried really to improve the way they report. So now the next step is, how do we know if you're, say, Kenya Film Corporation, what kind of surplus had you had? What are the strategies you've done to, say, promote, say, the musicians' welfare in the country? And this can be done through different technologies available and through many social media platforms. Yeah,
all right.
Very good. Yeah.
Catherine, let me get to you. Let's talk about the Fire Awards that we expect. It's in December. You'll give us the dates. Give us an idea of why this really is important, how it's transformed financial reporting over the years, and the idea behind it, really.
Okay, thank you, Zainab. So Fire Award is, like the name says, really it's an award which is done to recognize those who have done well in terms of financial reporting. That is in line with the requirements. So the process, I'll briefly just mention what exactly is it and how do we culminate to the award. So the award date itself is on 8th of December, and we also have a conference, so a Fire Award conference where we'll be discussing the general findings and the way forward as some sort of resolutions for next year. So that will be on 7th of December at Kempinski, and we have 8th of December, that is the award ceremony and the gala dinner. It will be at Safari Park. So how do we get there? So we get there through a thorough process of evaluation, where we go through a first level, second level, and third in terms of evaluating the financial reports that have been submitted to us. So before the evaluation, of course, the entity submits voluntarily. Through, we have a Fire Award website, www.fireaward.org. So when someone logs into the Fire Award website, they'll be able to see all that information, how to submit entries. The Fire Award is a joint initiative that has admitted, it was started by ISPAC, but has admitted other promoters. We do this jointly with the Capital Markets Authority, the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, and the Retirement Benefits Authority. So jointly, because you can see these are sort of the regulators within the country, we are looking at different elements within that. Over and above the issue of prudence in terms of financial reporting, we also look at several issues around governance, reporting, sustainability, and then how the listed entities perhaps have been in terms of reporting and any key initiatives that are required from that sector. So when someone submits voluntarily, and also we go through a process, what we call, there are those who have not necessarily submitted but are readily available for the big entities, just for comparability's sake. We accept entries as well from across the other countries. We've seen,
so it's not just a Kenyan affair.
It's not just a Kenyan affair.
Right.
We've seen, we have categories for Tanzania. We also have some Ugandan entities who send us the entries for evaluation. So we carry out a thorough evaluation process, and through that, then the judges are able to give a listing of the performance of that. We also have the reporting process that is done immediately after, just giving the entity all the areas of improvement. Of course, it's a bit technical, but we give the entity what exactly would you need to improve on, so that perhaps next year you'd be part of the winners. So that is done and submitted to them. We are also open normally post the award to discuss with the respective preparer within that entity on what more would they need to do so that they'll improve in their reporting, not necessarily to win. Our main initiative first is for everyone to improve. We also have other promoter categories where we give entities who have really improved in terms of their reporting. So not necessarily, we don't only focus on the winners, but also those who are making strides towards improvement. This is done across all the sectors, and I think it's an award which has really been prestigious. As you've seen, we have many entities who have won. We had a Tanzanian entity winning. We also have different Kenyan companies that have been competing.
Now that's interesting for a Tanzanian entity to actually win in an award that's happening in Kenya.
Yes, indeed. Right. It's very interesting for us.
All right. And CPA Stephen, I mean, when you're looking at that, you're a judge in that award, looking at the influence really these awards really have on companies. Do you think it helps in enhancing confidence in investors, potential stakeholders? How does that work?
Thank you, Zainab. Indeed, it does. And perhaps just to paint a picture, the first time the Fire Award was run and the public sector was looped in, almost all the reports in the public sector were qualified or disclaimers of opinion. Perhaps it could have been something to do with the training aspect, or the accountants not having gone through the motions of what is expected of them. So what happened with that initial evaluations that we did? Of course, as CPA Catherine has said, we provide you with, this is the framework, this is what this particular standard requires, and these are the things you did not do or comply with. Now, you automatically identified areas where you need to be trained on, because perhaps it's a new requirement you are not aware of.
Right.
Now, what we've seen over the years, in the last 3 or so years, we've seen even county governments that have clean opinions now. Yeah, they may not be the majority, but at least a significant improvement from what we previously had. I think you may have heard of the Makueni County and the award they won, and it was quite in the social media on what was happening then in that particular county and the kind of reports that were coming out from that. Now, probably just to touch on something FCPA Njeni had said. Now, although we call it financial reporting, it's not just about the finances.
Okay.
So the public generally are not just interested in the fact that you've made
correct.
The fact that you've made profit, are you able to make those profits into the foreseeable future? Yeah, are you able to do so? And there's the recognition, of course, that the natural resources we have are limited to some extent, and therefore prudent use of those resources becomes a necessity. Yeah, and when we talk about to consider that yes, you've made profits, yes, you have assets and liabilities, and your balance sheet is healthy, but tell us the story behind these particular numbers. Then as an investor, I can be able to say, okay, if you are relying on mining this particular mineral as your source of income, the deposits are limited. For how long will you continue doing that decision-making to be optimal? And evaluation of the health of this particular entity in terms of the impact to the environment. And you'll agree, of course, stakeholders would be varied at any given point in time. If you're talking about the government being a stakeholder in a private entity, of course, KRA would like to collect taxes. Now, the collection of those taxes is dependent, of course, on the financial aspect you've reported. But I'm sure they will also be interested in you producing more profits into the future as the economy grows. So sustainability becomes a very important aspect. So what we've done over the years in terms of financial reporting and Fire Awards is not just look at the financial aspects. Yeah, we look at, of course, governance.
Yes, holistic approach.
Holistic approach.
Right.
Yeah, holistic approach. So we look at the financial reporting, compliance with standards, both auditing and accounting. We also come into compliance, legal, PFM Act, yeah, appropriate use of public resources and their disclosure that are required with respect to that. But we also look at environmental impact and what are some governance aspects that an entity has, and have they disclosed those to the public?
All right.
Yeah.
In a changing world.
Yes, in a changing environment.
All right.
Yes.
And Dr. Njeni, I mean, when we're looking at some of those things that really come together when evaluating the companies for these awards and how this criteria is aligned to also, you know, the international reporting standards that we have, I wanted to find out very quickly, that's not the only thing that we look at, because there are other things that also accompany this financial reporting. How do they align to these other things? And I think it's important that CPA Stephen has mentioned, this is the issue of sustainability. He's touched on it quite widely, and I think he's really tried to describe the essence of why this is important. But maybe you can add on to that?
Yeah, in fact, when you talk about the concept of sustainability, just a quick rewind of how the journey began. So for quite a while, we've been looking at the bottom line, meaning just the profits. Customers giving us money, minimizing our costs, what are we keeping?
Okay.
Then after a while, people started saying, hey, we are worried about how the company is being managed. So in that case, we then moved on to what we're calling the corporate governance disclosures, because we are worried, we are making a profit now. The way the company is being governed, we will talk about profits today, but these will not be there in the future. So who are your directors, your qualifications? What do they think about? Then from there, we began looking at profits, governance is good, but are we now worried about the environment and the people? So sustainability has those two aspects of people and environment. So the use of resources, are we, say, making profits at the expense of, say, messing up the environment, pollution, use of water, what are we doing to make sure that we protect the environment? And is our business model working well to protect the environment and take care of the people? So are our customers safe? Are we having employees also working in a good environment? And what are we doing for the society at large? So sustainability is all about looking at people and environment. And remember that we began by looking at governance. So that's why the concept of ESG started becoming very prominent in the 90s and the 2000s. So right now, what we've then done is that ESG reporting, governance was made mandatory. Governance reporting was made mandatory around 2000 with the collapse of many companies due to directors and board members not running the company well and abuse of office. But sustainability component has been voluntary for a long time. So you can choose whether to tell us a story, and even when you tell us a story, you can choose what you want to tell us. So if you're not doing well in some aspects of the environment and people, you can keep that close to your heart and you don't tell people. So you just bring us the good side. So right now, with effect from 2024, we have new accounting standards which will require disclosures of sustainability matters and climate-related issues. So these two now will be at the mainframe of reporting. So it's not like this is now voluntary. Of course, the Capital Markets Authority and the Nairobi Securities Exchange had required listed companies to prepare to report under ESG, but now accountants have gone ahead and had the initiative to now say you will have to report on your sustainability matters. Now, for the period that we have now, we can't go into all aspects of sustainability reporting because you have to think about environment has got many facets, and people also have many facets. But the people component is very large because it goes to the society, employees, your customers, and also the ethical practices that you have put in place. And so that's a big component there. But the environment itself also has the issue of pollution, water resources, use of water, energy, and conservation. So many of these components are put in that framework that we're using in the FIRE awards to show that have you been practicing this? Now, the advantage of reporting these matters is that what CPA Steve has said, and CPA Catherine, investors now don't want short-term aspects. They want to see the long-term sustainability of the company. And then because of many stakeholders worried about the social SDG, the 17 SDGs, and whether we're going to be there in the future, given the climate issues we have now, it's also high time we start assessing that. And I'm seeing a situation where we're going to be less on profits and more on sustainability matters.
I see.
Yeah, so that probably will be the direction we're taking.
All right, that's very interesting. And CPA Catherine, final thoughts, other initiatives, perhaps activities that are going to accompany these awards, in terms of perhaps educating businesses further on accurate financial reporting, and also just giving professionals an idea of why this is the way we should be going, especially on the issue of sustainability as well.
Okay, thank you. So indeed, further initiatives are there. We have done pre-initiatives like I had spoken about earlier on the issue of ensuring that we provide the awareness and training, we provide the guidance, which we have done, and mainly other initiatives. I'd like just to backtrack a bit and add to what my colleague FCPA engineer said in terms of the sustainability reporting. So at this park, we have been one of the early adopters, I think the third country in Africa to adopt the new sustainability standards that have been issued globally by the International Sustainability Standards Board. That is the IFRS S1 and S2. So we did that this year around September on 8th. We adopted officially in Kenya those standards, and what we are doing continuously then is awareness and capacity building of our respective of our accountants and the nation at large in terms of ensuring adherence to the new standards. So as early adopters, I know we have entities who have gone into the early adoption process, but again, this is something which we are going to continuously do in terms of capacity building, in terms of guidance. So next year, as we finish with the award, early next year we'll still begin several milestones towards that on the issue of sustainability reporting and general financial reporting. We have forums where we've organized for financial reporting for county governments, for public sector entities. Currently in the country, we have a discussion around accrual reporting, accrual-based IPSAS, and that is the standards that is used within the public sector public sector accountancy world. So we are beginning those discussions, and we are trying to see how do we then capacity build the preparers of those statements, and also those who are going to be receiving that. How do we then tell them that when you see this is how to interpret that? Right. So we have different initiatives that have been lined up, and we'll keep educating the membership of ISPAC and also the country at large, even non-members as well, to just for us to improve in terms of excellence in financial reporting within the country and transparency across board.
All right. So the entries are still ongoing?
Entries have been closed, but anyone who is interested and perhaps they are not sure whether their entity had already been accepted, and if you're interested also to come to the award itself, you may have not sent an entry for your company, or you may have also sent, but if you're interested to come to the award to learn and to see who the winners are, that is still open. The bookings are ongoing currently, so you can as well log in and www.ispac.com. There's a link there, you can log in. Also check the Fire Award website, and you'll see that you're able to register, and friends will be there winning different awards.
All right. All right, so thank you so much, CPA Catherine Asemate, Fire Award Technical Committee Chair, FCPA Dr. Geoffrey Njeni, Fire Award Judge, as well as CPA Stephen Obok, who's also a judge for the Fire Award. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best, and I hope the best company wins, suddenly, and I hope that you know, they meet all those requirements. But this is where we wind up on Your World. Thank you so much for watching. More news, of course, on the Fire Award. You can catch that on ISPAC's social media accounts. This is where we wrap it up. My name is Zainab Ismail. Good morning. Good day.
KCA University 15th graduation ceremony will be held on Thursday, 16th November at the main campus in Ruaraka, Nairobi. This year's theme is 10 Years of Innovation and Transformation. All graduates and guests are requested to be seated at the graduation square by 8:30 a.m. The event will be live on NTV from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and also live streamed on NTV YouTube, KCA University YouTube and Facebook pages. KCA University, advancing knowledge, driving change.
issue with my shifts. I'm tired of being here
Calm
catching all
down.
the
I
work.
can't answer all your questions at once. Enough. The meeting's over. We go back to work
Fine.
now.
A long meeting that took our entire break.
I do for the rest of my life with all that I have, I do, and I will.
And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated GE. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
We clapped our hands and stomped our feet. Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. A rig-a-tick-tick and away we go, away we go, away we go. A rig-a-tick-tick and away we go. Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho.
Good morning and thank you for tuning in. My name is Trisha Idera and this is Generation 3. We're going to learn and have so much fun together. I hope you have your snacks ready. First things first, the highlights.
Don't walk, you don't try. You supposed to be jai.
And today's question is, how long should the lunch break be? I'll go first. I think 1 hour.
So this is the sushi chef. So this is the saucier chef. So this is the saucier chef.
What room has no doors or windows?
I think it is a secret because you can tell someone your secret and you will still know it.
This is so big. Now this is a good size. Spaghetti might get a little messy, but you know what? It's worth it.
We go through this door, everything changes.
Okay, what are we waiting for?
That's a spare. The waking world again. Rule number 2, keep a low profile. We're not here to have fun.
Let's watch something fun, awesome, and exciting. Can you guess what it is? You got it right. It's an awesome video.
Don't sleep, wake up. Collect your money, wake up. Collect your money, wake up. Tera, go get the moolah. Wake up. Money go kala. Don't walk, you don't try. You supposed to be jai. Kill it all, so far so good. Koni bajo, let me see you. Go lo, let me see you. Go lo, bukao. Let me see you, de buka. Go lo, let me see you. Go lo, bukao. Let me see you, de buka. Go lo, let me see you. Go lo, bukao. Let me see you, de buka. Let me see you. Go lo, bukao. Let me see you, de buka. Better, go get the dollar. Wake up. Don't walk, don't try.
Told you it was fun. Now let's get something more interesting. Have you discovered your talent yet? If you have, how often do you use it? Some kids have discovered their talents and they're utilizing them. Let's have a look at Vakilishi.